You know that moment you tripped in public and felt like literally every single person in a 3-mile radius saw it, judged it, and is still thinking about it right now? They're not. They never were. And neuroscience can prove it. Here are 10 psychology and neuroscience facts about the spotlight effect that are going to completely mess with how you see yourself. And honestly, free you from a prison you didn't know you were in. The last one genuinely floored me. Fact 1. The spotlight effect is a real documented psychological phenomenon. Psychologists Thomas Gilovich and Kenneth Savitsky first named it at Cornell University in 2000. Their research proved that human beings consistently and dramatically overestimate how much other people notice, remember, and care about their mistakes, appearance, and failures. You are the star of your own movie, but everyone else is too busy starring in theirs. Fact 2. In the original study, students were forced to wear an embarrassing t-shirt. Participants were asked to wear a t-shirt featuring a large, embarrassing image into a room full of people. They predicted that 50% of people in the room would notice. The actual number? 25%, less than half of what they feared. Your embarrassment feels like a neon sign. To everyone else, it's practically invisible. Try this. Think of something embarrassing that happened to you last month. Now ask yourself, do you remember anyone else's embarrassing moment from last month? Exactly. And if this is already making your brain feel a little lighter, hit like and subscribe right now. Fact 3. Even animals show signs of self-conscious behavior, but only a few. Only a handful of species pass the mirror self-recognition test, the scientific measure of self-awareness. Great apes, dolphins, elephants, and magpies are among them. But here's what's fascinating. None of them show signs of social anxiety about failure. The crippling fear of being judged for your mistakes, that is an exclusively, painfully human experience. Fact 4. Ancient Romans had a built-in ritual to combat the spotlight effect 2,000 years before it was named. During Roman triumph parades, the highest military honor, a slave would stand behind the celebrated general and whisper repeatedly into his ear, "Memento mori." Remember, you will die. The purpose wasn't morbid, it was to remind the most powerful person in the world that no single moment of glory or failure defines the entire arc of a human life, not even your worst failure. Fact 5. In Japan, there is a cultural philosophy that turns failure into a form of art. Kintsugi, the Japanese practice of repairing broken pottery with gold, is a 500-year-old tradition rooted in the philosophy that broken and repaired is more beautiful than never broken at all. Psychologists now use kintsugi as a therapeutic metaphor for post-traumatic growth, the scientifically documented phenomenon where people emerge from failure stronger, wiser, and more resilient than they were before the break. Try this. Name one failure that secretly made you stronger. Say it out loud. We're halfway through, and I promise you the last fact on this list is the one that completely changed how I think about what other people think of me. Don't scroll. This one matters. Fact 6. Your brain uses more energy worrying about social judgment than it does solving actual problems. Neuroscientists at UCLA found that social pain, the fear of being judged, rejected, or seen as a failure, activates the same neural regions as physical pain. Your brain treats the thought of public embarrassment with the same biological urgency as an actual physical threat to your survival. This means worrying about what people think is literally exhausting your brain's resources faster than real problems do. Try this. The next time social anxiety spikes, say, "This is pain, not danger." Watch your nervous system respond. Fact 7. The most watched TED Talk in history is about the power of vulnerability, not perfection. Brené Brown's talk titled "The Power of Vulnerability" has been viewed over 60 million times. Her decade of research found that the people rated as the most connected, successful, and courageous were not the ones who hid their failures. They were the ones who owned them openly. The world doesn't fall silent when you fail. It leans in. If your mind is genuinely being freed right now, that like button is one tap, and it puts this in front of someone who has been imprisoned by fear of judgment for years. Go on, tap it. Fact 8. Humans are hardwired to overestimate social attention. It was a survival mechanism. Our ancestors lived in small tribal groups where being noticed, judged, and cast out could literally mean death. Social rejection 10,000 years ago meant no food, no shelter, no protection. So our brains evolved to hypervigilantly scan for signs that others were watching us and judging us. The spotlight effect isn't a flaw, it's an ancient survival program running on completely outdated software. Think about that the next time you spiral about what someone thinks of your life choices. Fact 9. There is a city in Iceland where failure is celebrated publicly, and it's changing human behavior. Reykjavik hosts an annual failure festival where entrepreneurs, artists, and professionals publicly share their biggest failures on stage. The psychological result? Participants report dramatically lower fear of trying again, higher innovation rates, and measurably reduced social anxiety. When failure is witnessed and applauded, the spotlight effect loses almost all of its power. And here's the fact that genuinely amazed me, and I haven't stopped thinking about it since. Researchers at Harvard University ran a long-term study asking people at the end of their lives what they regretted most. The overwhelming majority did not say, "I regret the times I failed. I regret the times I was embarrassed. I regret what people thought of me." They said, "I regret the things I didn't try because I was afraid of what people would think." The judgment you are afraid of right now, it exists almost entirely inside your own mind. The people you fear judging you are too consumed by their own spotlight, their own fears, their own failures, their own stories, to be the audience you've imagined them to be. The stage you are afraid of was always yours to own, not run from. You have been shrinking yourself for an audience that was never really watching. You have been editing your choices, swallowing your dreams, and delaying your start because of a judgment that lives almost entirely inside your nervous system. The spotlight effect is your brain protecting you from a social threat that no longer exists in the way it once did. And now that you know it, you get to choose differently. Start the thing. Take the leap. Begin again. The spotlight you fear was always yours to own, not run from. If this gave you even one breath of freedom today, subscribe because we break down psychology like this every week. Your brain deserves to understand why it does what it does, and you deserve to live without an audience you invented.